He is a certified in four specialties and focuses on creating customized healthcare solutions that meet international standards. His work has impacted healthcare projects both India and internationally, and he is passionate about using AI and digital health to improve care. Let's extend a warm welcome to Mr. Stalin Salvamani sir as he shares his insights with us today. So now I'm handing over the section to our guest Stalin Salvamani sir. So now it's over to you, sir.
Good evening. Can I have access to share my screen, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Uh, can you all view my screen?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Okay, great. It's my privilege to be here. I have been following up about this organization for quite some time and very impressed about their contribution in training biomedical engineers for industry readiness. And I hope that this session that we are going to have right now is going to help all the participants for you to have what is happening in the industry and how can you be ready with what you have learned or with what you have experienced into the future of healthcare. I've been, very much passionate about healthcare technology. First, for the reason is it is directly serving the mankind. Second, as a personal benefit, I get exposed to all the latest technologies before it is even coming to the consumer market. And I remember, late 80s, I've seen touch screen technology, which came to the consumer market recently. But it is available in healthcare for so many years. So, like similarly, all the new technologies that is coming has got tremendous applications in healthcare. And in fact, we are the one of the first people next to defense industry to experience such technologies. So we are, world is changing fast. And right now, the trend is artificial intelligence. Wherever you go, you hear about it. And artificial intelligence in medical technology is reshaping. And in fact, the way it is evolving into healthcare industry is not only as technical people is, something interesting for us, but also it saves human lives. It helps doctors. It helps clinical
Excuse me, sir.
institutions. Yeah.
Sir, your screen is not visible, sir. It is
Okay.
in some of the
Just
tabs, sir.
okay. Let me share again, please.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Is it seen now?
Yeah, yes, sir. Now it is visible, sir.
Okay, great. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. I'm going to talk to you. I hope you heard my, the first slide, what I was telling. Just now, I'm starting the presentation, so I hope you will be able to follow. So, first thing is, medical equipment design. Earlier, if you go to a operation theater, it will be something like this. And now it is like this. And the changes are tremendous. The time when you start, when they started to bring solid state electronics and microprocessors. And from there, memories, operating systems, and softwares that is implemented into medical equipments. And then now the artificial intelligence and generative AI. And there is a big change that is happening. I put it this way. Those days, machines and electronic circuits and controls. Then inside the hardware, there were softwares. And now we have come to a level that softwares are called medical devices. So these are the changes. When I started my career those days, 30 years ago, and diagnostic ultrasound machines with all the modalities and with all the features, it will have something like 30 to 40 printed circuit boards, electronic boards. And then, now if you see that, it is reduced a lot. And then, so many functions are added. And we are coming to a stage now that without any hardware, softwares are able to do lot of things that the hardwares were doing in the past. So these are the challenges. These are the you know way that the medical equipment designs are evolving and transform. And we are going, the industries they are discussing about even to get CT images from ultrasound images using AI. And there are limitless potential opportunities for AI in medical equipment design. So now traditional design challenges, in the pictures I show you, the ultrasound machines, initial days, it was like this. And now we have come to this level, only a probe that communicates with a software. And even this is further, lot of changes it is going through. And we are expecting a lot of changes in the coming days. Even the way hospitals look, the way me- departments look, the way laboratories appear, all are changing. All are changing. So traditionally, when they design, they take data and manually enter them, and then the circuits and what are the available features and what are all helping the doctors. These are all manually counted. Now it is all automated. Even the design parameters, collecting the parameters, it's all automated now. And there is a continuous, because of the competition and because of its direct help in even improving the patient outcome and recovery. So there is a need for innovation, there is demand, and there is a need for innovation. And then, you know, in India, for example, I have seen those days, people, there was no biomedical department. Now the clinicians, they have come up, okay, we need engineers to work with. And then we need scientists, we need microbiologists, we need IT people, all coming together. It is the gap between different modalities are narrowing now. So we are all going to be, ready for anything that is coming up, the future has for us as technical people. So we need to be ready. We need to be equipped. The clinical outcomes, you know, now the way it goes, we can say that a person before going to hospital, the computer, the software is able to predict what type of disease. during this particular time a patient can come up. So they are already equipping themselves for treating the patient. So it is faster and even it is very sophisticated. It is very much precise to the patient. So everything is evolving. So we are not only biomedical engineers. So maybe we are trained biomedical engineers, but at the same time, we are carrying so many disciplines along with us. So when you are a biomedical engineer, you cannot say that, I'm biomedical engineers, I will only look after the equipments and I will look after only the electronic circuits. No, the time is gone. Now you have to be expert in everything because the medical equipment itself is not going to be only the equipment. There are many things adding up. There are many disciplines. There are many solutions. There are many capabilities that are being added with the medical equipment. When we talk about AI, there are two things: machine learning and deep learning. That is helping a lot. And then natural language processing. Hospitals are generating lot of data on a day-to-day basis. Now, how you can benefit from these data? How another patient can benefit from a previous patient. So these are all like, in the industry, it's already put into practice. So taking advantage of the data that is available so that the patient will benefit. Whether it can be image, whether it can be patient data, whether it can be laboratory data, whether it can be genetical data, everything are working together. So when you are doing an MRI scan or you are taking a mammography, along with that, there is machine learning, there is artificial intelligence that is working with your patient, your data, your laboratory data, and your genetical data, everything, and your previous history. And it predicts what condition you are in right now. So this is one example, and there is a limitless potential in that direction. And the other thing is that the language processing. So it is report generating, and for even for assisting the patient and helping the patient for the future, and even patient care. We can do so many things using natural language processing. Now we are talking about smart medical devices, remote monitoring and wearable devices, and the advent of IoT, applications of IoT. A lot of signals are monitored live and it's communicating with your patient data, with the system, and it is helping the doctors to diagnose, helping the doctors to find out what is happening, and even to suggest the patient remotely. So there are smart devices that are able to take decisions and advise the patient and the clinicians. So smart devices are also, this field is very much emerging and it is very much being useful. And now you are talking about the fabrics, or all of us now about smart watches. And you can see so many things. Few years ago, when there is somebody has to monitor their glucose level, you have to go to a laboratory, or you have to take blood sample in your home, and then you monitor it and you enter manually, and then you meet the doctor. Now these are all automated. So here there are so many things, in this patient flow. There is a lot of changes has happened in the recent days. So now it's all changed. So you connect your data live through your mobile phone, and it is being recognized. It communicates with your EMR data, and then it communicates. It takes the decisions and gives suggestions and everything. So smart medical devices are going to again help the patients and the clinicians. And now, when you talk about uh, smart medical devices, it's about the sizes. Not only the sizes, it's about the connectivity and faster data transfer and the availability of automation, software automations, and everything works together for the benefit of the patient. AI, AI, it has design principles. All of us know that the AI basically and then deployment, and this is happening in the cloud. This is one of wherever we are, and it helps the patient. Now, the traditional medical equipments, they have challenges to connect or uh, to uh, to be a part of this data driven environment. So the connectivity. Now there are standards that has come. The recent emerge of HL7 standards, health level 7. And this is helping, and it connects our DICOM and all the EMRs and even laboratories all together through HL7. And that is something uh, base level connectivity standard for all of us, and clinical data architecture. And these are the areas that is helping in when you connect all these devices together. And it's a syringe pump being used in ICU, and it's not a standalone device. When you connect the syringe pump in the system, and it is able to do so many automated things by itself, predicts the patient's uh, levels and what are the medications needed and how much dose is needed. And the syringe pump itself is able to uh, suggest the doctors. So these are the power of AI in healthcare. So now AI driven customization. All the patients, yeah, yeah, people when they go to hospitals, all patients have different histories, different genetical makeups, different symptoms for different diseases. So all are not equal. So these are the challenges for many years for clinicians to diagnose and even to give treatments to the patients. Now AI is helping. It's tremendous because all the data are already there. And with that data, you train the system. The system is able to predict and suggest the doctors. One of the things when we talk about medical device design, the regulatory and compliance considerations. It's not that we simply design a medical equipment and because it is not a normal equipment. These are very much regulated, particularly the life-saving equipments. Those are used in ICUs. Those are used in surgery, and the regulations are very much important. And artificial intelligence helps even to navigate the regulations. Even the regulatory submissions, many products are available. They can help the regulatory submissions with artificial intelligence. What are the changes happening and how the patient, the data from the equipment, the clinical trials, how uh, they are collected and how they are complying with the regulatory bodies and what are the standards, what are the requirements of the regulatory industry. And you can automate everything, even the regulatory sanctions and approvals. The AI is helping the medical device manufacturers. And another area is data security. In data security also, when we connect different devices in the network, there is always a concern for security and privacy of data of patients. Even there, AI can help. So hospitals, finance industry is depending on it for many years, and it is already there. Even in healthcare industry, AI is helping data security and privacy. It's like a God that is standing there for data security and privacy. Future directions. As I said, what future has for the use of AI in medical device industry is you, you can say sky is the limit in everything. If you sit and think of it, there is no limit because healthcare is concern for all of us. And we all want innovation and better and how to improve it, the quality and time recovery, and even in treatments, in therapies. So there is a limitless opportunity. So it is each and every day it is emerging. So it is evolving into something new. New things are coming up. So as biomedical engineers, technical people, our responsibility is to cope up with all this. So I say, I did electronics and communication engineering because those days there was no biomedical engineering in the college. It's 30 years ago. Then all of a sudden I went to biomedical. I had to learn a lot of things. And that spirit that I picked up those days, it never stopped because in healthcare industry, anybody in healthcare, even doctors, lab technicians, anybody in the healthcare industry, you have to keep on learning because it is changing. It is improving every day. It is directly affecting the people and it is directly saving lives. So our responsibility is to continuously learn and improve ourselves because it's all improving. It is every day. Even when we are sitting here, there are so many people all across the world. They are working on how to improve healthcare, how to improve medical equipment design, how it can benefit people, the society, and how we can save human lives. So we also, without stopping, we need to continuously. Then another thing is in the future, what we have to be focusing is that it is a collaborative development. It's not one field. It's not one day. And another thing is it is not only technical thing. There are so many other things. So you should be learning what is happening in the healthcare industry, how the new diseases are coming up, what are the challenges, how to treat. So working with different departments in the hospital, different uh, specialities in healthcare industry. So and working together, only purpose is we save lives, we help humanity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful session, sir. Participants, if you have any queries, kindly ask or put it in the chat.
I see a question to who do we who use wearable device in laboratory, right? You know, can I answer this? I think Muruguntana is asking this question. Uh, see, we talk about, for example, blood gas analyzer. Blood gas analyzer. Uh, Once upon a time, we take the blood sample and send to the laboratory, and then then you wait for a couple of hours and you get the laboratory result. Then it came what we call point of care, devices. So without taking the patient's blood and sending to the laboratory in the ICU or in the department itself or at home itself, a small device, handheld device, where instead of taking, 5 ml blood or 10 ml blood, you put a drop of blood and it gives the same results. So this is a point of care unit. Now, uh, wearable units is something you wear it continuously, and it takes the device itself is capable of storing your data, or they are able to transfer the results to um, a computer that is far from where the patient is, or even when you take the device and connect with the computer, it gives all the results continuously, so you don't have to be. So in the laboratory, it's there already. For example, remote glucose monitoring is already there. When you go to now, for example, some diabetics specialty hospitals, the first thing they do is they connect a wearable glucose monitoring, remote glucose monitoring, and they will send you, because they want to monitor you for 1 day or 2 days or 1 week. So these are all wearable industry. Laboratory very much useful. And when the technology in sensors uh, are developing along with this data transfer technology softwares, and it's very much will be evolving, and you can say that there will not be any parameters that cannot be monitored remotely, where you use the wearable devices. Thank you. I hope I answered your question.
Sir, next there must be one question, sir. What is your advice regarding the sales engineering job for a fresher today, sir?
Uh, well, sales engineering, somehow in our culture, particularly in India, and maybe in Asian countries, when it comes to the profession of sales, we think that this is not something good, particularly for engineers. You see, I did all engineering, and then I, start as a sales engineer or sales representative. This is not good, And there are many people I come across, biomedical engineering graduate. They say this. I don't want to do sales. Well, I started my career in Middle East, and first I finished engineering. My first job was overseas. So those days. So there, when I was, I was in technical support, and for so many years. But various reasons, I was not directly involved in sales. But one thing I see, salespeople are very much needed. Without sales, there is nothing. Even you can make, very, very wonderful equipment, or very nice technology. But if it is not reaching the customer, it is not going to the hospital, there is no use of it. So who does this? Salespeople. So salespeople, do they have to be technical? Yes, they have to be technical. And when they go for presenting a product to a customer, they believe an engineer more than a simple salesperson. and sales is generating revenue, and it is a wonderful profession according to me. And only thing is that we feel that sales is not a noble profession. And another thing is that we think that sometimes salespeople all like, it doesn't have to be like that. And this is sales, genuine sales and technical sales is a very wonderful profession according to me, even better than service engineer. If you are a support engineer, and you think that sales is an inferior work. No, it's not like that. And I can say that sales is a very good profession, and we need lot of sales engineers, and it's a wonderful career to opt for.
Sir, there is another one question, sir. Sir, now I am working as a service engineer. I need to improve my skills in technology oriented because I meet doctors and talk about devices. I need to develop my skills and improve my career.
You need to develop your
Skills, sir.
any
The
skills.
participant asked
Okay.
how to improve the skills in sales and the service engineering.
Uh, well, you see, it is basically, yeah, I will combine this question also. There is a question, what is a design principle? And when you talk about design principle, it all comes, the knowledge and the skills. And you see, we learn many things in the college, right? As engineers, for example, the design principles. And I would say, you know, I will tell you an example. For I just came out of the college. I went for my first training overseas to Europe, and I was just fresher. And then they conducted what we call test, in between the training. It was, I think, 2 weeks training. So the last day they announced the marks, and they said, this is Mr. Stalin for first rank. So I was wondering, what is happening? So many people from all across the world are there. Because I was fresh from the college, I had the information, and I was able to answer it well. So basically, there is academic information that you learn in the college. These are all very much important. And that is where you learn the technology. So this academic information for biomedical engineers, you can say, should be good in electronics. And many of our concerns of biomedical engineers, engineering graduates, I feel, we feel personally, I discussed with these other colleagues also. Our concern is that biomedical engineers, you should be a little bit thorough in electronics hardware. This is very much important. You improve. There are so many things coming, in electronics design, the electronic circuits, and then signal processing is very much important. Signal processing. So this is what you learn here in your textbook. Wherever you go, that is your fundamental. It's important. You have to be good in it. And then you talk about sensors, biomedical sensors. These are all important. And I would suggest any biomedical engineers, you should develop their software knowledge also. So this is where all this information is already in your curriculum. When you come up, when you learn a bachelor degree in electronics, sorry, biomedical engineering, it is all there. So maybe when you studied, you took it easy. These are all fundamentals. All of us should be good at it. And second thing is that when you are good at it, and whether you are taking that knowledge to design, or whether you are taking that knowledge to troubleshoot, or you are using that knowledge to help somebody to benefit. So these are the way you apply it. But the technical knowledge is what you learn in your college is very much important. And there are, the same thing. Maybe you, when you study in the college, you will not know everything. and you will not know where exactly everything is being used, but you should be thorough with it. And signal processing, Fourier transformation and all this, maybe, something that is not getting inside your brain, but you have to make sure that you are, you learn it and you know what it is. So these are the technology part. And if you are able to specialize it, it is good. And with your master's degree, but what you learn in your bachelor's degree is fundamental. An application of it, you can take it in sales, as I said, that is helping the medical practitioners with that information, how they can benefit and what is in the latest market and what is the new things that is coming up. So you do it as an application specialist or as a sales engineer. Then, what is already there, and if there is any problem, you help them to sort it out and, fix it and let it run properly. That is a work as a service engineer. So wherever you are, I know I have friends who were in design and then they shifted to service. They were good. They were happy because same thing. Okay. So nothing is less or nothing is more. So your basic knowledge is important. You have to improve that.
Sir, another one question, sir. What is design principle, sir?
Well, design principles, basically, uh, when you develop a new machine, there are parameters that you have to consider. I would say, the electronics part, the software part, and the integration, and even putting them together as a equipment. You know, and most importantly, all of this have to, as by because we are in a field which is very highly regulated, we should stand on a platform called regulatory affairs. So you should know the regulatory part right in there from the beginning. So that is the difference between other field and our field. So many people, they have innovative ideas, they come up with that and they try to develop something, but when they go for selling it or taking it to the market, then they are restricted because don't comply the regulatory standards. So design principles in the sense, so this is what, so you stand, there is a regulatory platform and there is an expectation from regulatory bodies all across the world. Even in Indian government, there are regulatory bodies. So you comply that. Then you put your technology or what it can do and how it is going to help and how to do it. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sir. And then there is another one question, sir. Now in sales and service, I need to change my career in biomedical, sir.
Well, sales and service, as you said, if you are biomedical, I say sales and service itself is biomedical. If you are into selling biomedical, if you are not selling a generator or if you are not selling solar panel, you are selling something that is for the hospital. And particularly it is a medical equipment that is already biomedical engineer.
Okay, sir. And then there is another one
I
question,
will,
sir.
again, I will, because I come across young people and, many of them when they say take biomedical engineering, first thing is many of them took biomedical engineering. Maybe you can relate yourself with this. They take biomedical engineering because they wanted to do something in medicine. Didn't get admission for medical college. So they thought, biomedical engineering is something similar. No, it's not like that. But anyhow, it is, we are doing the same thing technically. Okay. In that way, it is correct. But second thing is when you say biomedical engineer, we are talking about title biomedical engineer. You know, there is a title called biomedical engineer that is mostly given to hospital biomedical engineers, those who are in the hospitals. Well, if you get a job in a hospital, I don't discourage because that is also important. As a person in the industry for about more than 30 years, I would say, you know, if you are working in a company, that is, you can learn much better than if you are working in a hospital as biomedical engineers, because the companies, they get latest informations in products, about products, technologies, and hospitals, they get it from the companies mostly. So, if you are in sales and service, again, you are a biomedical engineer. If you are, helping with the technologies to the hospital. And if you're a biomedical engineer in a hospital, that is also good because you meet variety of people and learn. But all are biomedical engineering only. And if you are designing some equipments, that's also biomedical engineering. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your nice answers, sir.
Welcome. So there is another question. I'm a third year student. Share your ideas to discover new innovations in biomedical related. Yeah. You see, basically, AI, you can a little bit learn about the algorithms and what is available and Python coding. Then the innovations, basically, there are many areas. One is, helping in treatments. So you come out. There are many diseases, lifestyle disease or even critical disease which requires surgeries, and these are all something that is you check with the doctors, visit the hospital. One of the things biomedical engineers, we uh, we lack is that the knowledge to work with the doctors and your exposure to work with the doctors. And the biomedical engineers, particularly if you want to involve in innovation, you have to spend the time with the doctors because they are directly working with the patient or they are the people who are deciding about treatments. So there are plenty of diseases, for example, and you take data. There are databases available in open source, or you can even work with doctors, particular research institutions. There are so many things coming up, so there is no limit, and you have to better find something that nobody's, image segmentation, for example, everybody is doing. That's fine, but you do image segmentation for something that nobody else has done. So something like that, and you do some new, work with some new algorithms, which will give more accuracy than what is existing. So similarly, you find out ways. There are plenty of ways. Yeah. What biomedical jobs will you suggest for women students that would be safe for us? In the industry, everybody is safe. Women and men all are equal, and there is no limitation. What men can do, women can do. What women can do, men can do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you for accepting the invitation, sir. And then it was a very nice session, sir.
Thank
Next,
you.
I call upon Ms. Arna Devi, biomedical trainer at ATHEENAPANDIAN Private Limited, can intro our next shift.
Now it's my pleasure to introduce our next guest. We are privileged to welcome Dr. Krishna Kumar Sangal sir, an accomplished academician, researcher, and associate editor to our South Indian Biomedical Industrial Conference. With extensive expertise in material science, biomechanics, prosthetics, and robotics, Dr. Shankar has made significant contributions to the field of biomedical engineering and healthcare technology. Currently serving as an assistant professor at Radhalakshmi Engineering College. Dr. Shankar also holds the role of associate editor in several prestigious journals, focusing on innovation and emerging technologies, particularly in AI and surgery. His academic journey includes doctorate from Anna University and a master's in biomedical engineering from Vellore Institute of Technology. He has further enriched the field with his work as a book author and scientific reviewer. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Krishna Kumar Sangar sir as he shares his invaluable insights today. Now I'm handing over the section to our guest, Dr. Krishna Kumar Sankar sir. Now it's over to you, sir.
Good evening, all. I'm Dr. Krishna Kumar Sankar. So I feel very much honored and pleasure to uh, address the session on the topic biomedical engineers, the role of biomedical engineers in the field of R&D, research and development. So is my screen visible? Could you confirm, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Okay. Okay, is the slide visible, Manoj?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir. Slide is visible.
Thank you. So
Thank you.
today's topic for the session is biomedical engineers in R&D sectors. So about me, there was an introduction about me, but still I would like to introduce myself. I'm working as an assistant professor in the Department of Biomedical Engineering, Rajalakshmi Engineering College. So I serve as an associate editor for two journals, prestigious journals: Journal of Emerging Technologies, the SEA Index Journal, Impact Factors 2.4, and again an associate editor for a Journal of Current Research in Otolaryngology, indexed in Copernicus and EPUB. It's a clinical journal, clinical research oriented journal. And the first one is Engineering and Medicine, both mix up of journal, and a reviewer of Journal of Computers, Management and Mechanical. So I'm a very passionate researcher, spending almost 16 to 18 hours for research every day. So that passion drove me to do research in the field of biomedical engineering, especially in the biomechanics. And here I am for around 10 to 15 years of 10 to 15 years of experience, both in teaching and in research, talking to you regarding the role of biomedical engineers in R&D sectors. Yes, what is biomedical engineering? The engineering principles apply to medical and biological problems. For example, let's keep the discussion very simple. There is a medical related issue. For example, there is a uh, injury or wound or fracture. For fracture or an amputation, amputation in the sense loss of a limb for a person, upper limb or lower limb. Upper limb denotes hand and lower limb denotes leg usually. How does a biomedical engineer, so to specifically say a biomechanical engineer, what does he or she does is design a prosthetic hand or leg to restore the function. So there are two types of restoration. Assistance is one type of restoration which will be done by orthotic devices, and restoring the organ, hand or leg, permanent replacement as in, that is prosthetic devices. So these are some of the one of the role of a biomedical engineer. So role in R&D is a link between technological development and medical innovation. So innovating something for the betterment of the society, for betterment of the people who are affected. So biomedical engineers, it has a broad scope in various areas of R&D, research and development. So medical devices, uh, biomechanics and prosthetics, artificial organs, tissue engineering, imaging technologies, and health informatics. So these are some of the areas of R&D where biomedical engineers play a pioneer role day to day in their day-to-day lives. So what are the core competencies needed? So problem solving skills, some innovation daily. Innovation is not a gift to anyone. It's a day in day out practice, persistence and consistency and collaboration. So whatever core competencies we have, it would be shared to everyone only if we collaborate, communicate very clearly with others. So key R&D sectors we will see in detail. First, when we see medical device development, it's about pacemakers, imaging machines, where biomedical engineers design the pacemakers, design the pulse velocity, signal flow, and all. And imaging machines like CT, MRI, and all, they do daily innovations, daily changes to to enhance the resolution of scan slices and all. And pharmaceuticals and biotechnology, drug delivery systems, biocompatibility studies. What are drug delivery systems? For example, nanocapsules, microfluidic devices which delivers drug in an efficient manner. And biocompatibility studies. What is biocompatibility? So biocompatibility means, for example, if a patient has an implant, hip implant or a knee implant after an injury, or he or she needs an implant, that implant should serve as a proper tool to facilitate joint movements of hip or knee without causing any infections. If it is causing infections, there is no point about using an implant. So that's biocompatibility stage. What is compatibility? When we use a 64-bit software on a 32-bit system, we usually don't do these days. We get a pop-up message in the system that the system is not compatible. In that way, biocompatibility works. Our human body should be compatible to the system. System implant. Rehabilitation engineering, prosthetics, orthotics. I was telling you, prosthetics is a replacement of a hand or leg by robotic hand or robotic leg, whereas orthotics is an assist device. For example, if a aged person cannot walk properly, he use walkers, crutches for balance and walking. And exoskeletons, exoskeleton is a wearable device where the individual or subject wears it, and it's for the use of ease of joint movements, joint movement performance, and executing proper efficient grip strength. So my personal field of work is exoskeletons. I've developed a large number of huge number of exoskeletons with my working with the help of students, guiding my students. My part of PhD work is also about exoskeletons. We have also developed some orthotic and prosthetic devices. Prosthetic devices is still in research in our biomedical engineering team. So clinical research, you know what is a clinical research, right? Clinical research is about testing a drug, testing usability of the drug by giving it to, for example, immediately it will not be given to humans. It will be given to animals like mice, rat. We also call it as a guinea pig in large numbers or samples and test it. So these are some of the roles of biomedical engineers in these fields. So to continue with that, what is in medical device R&D sectors, concept to product, that's the principle. So innovating about the innovation of the device, prototyping, developing a working model, testing it and getting regulatory approval. So ethical approval to use it on the human, and collaborating it with physicians and regulators and manufacturers. Whatever a biomedical engineer, whatever device he or she designs, it should be properly communicated. The working should be properly communicated with the proper user specifications. The communication is the key here. So some of the current innovations involve wearable devices, AI-driven diagnostic tools, and 3D printed implants. So what are the challenges in R&D for artificial organs and prosthetics? Mimicking a natural tissue functionality. For example, natural tissue organ, we are implanting an artificial heart. It should function as similar to an heart, natural heart in pumping the blood. So long-term biocompatibility, which means it should stay in the body for a longer period of time, and integration with the human body without any infections or toxic effects. So these are the challenges for biomedical engineers in when doing research and development in this field of artificial organs. So I was talking about artificial heart. The right side is a natural heart and left side is an artificial heart. Especially right ventricle and left ventricle is being replaced by biomedical engineers. So this is about a prosthetic hand. You can see the fingers amputated. The person is not having the finger. There are two types of prosthetics a biomedical engineer develops usually: body-powered prosthetics and electronic signal prosthesis. Body-powered process is nothing but using the advantage of the remaining part or remaining joints of the human body to make the last part to work. Here, the fingers, distal part of the fingers are not present for this individual. But he has his MCP joints working. You know what is MCP joints, right? Metacarpophalangeal joints. So the role of biomedical engineers here is to use the advantage of the movement of metacarpal joints to perform the gripping activities. He's holding a cup by using the metacarpal joint movement, so that the artificial or prosthetic distal fingers are coming in contact with the cup. So this is about exoskeleton, which I say it as a, or which we call it as a wearable device, where exoskeleton is worn by this individual in index finger and long finger to perform the flexion and extension activities by pneumatic mechanism, the spring structures and so on. So these are used if the person, a stroke patient, could not perform flexion and extension activities as does a healthy individual performs. So exoskeleton, they are available in various sizes. It is based on the user requirements, and it's based on the expertise of the biomedical engineer to design an exoskeleton for stroke patients. This is an example of stroke patients to perform flexion and extension activity and gripping activities. So in pharmaceutical R&D, what is happening? What are the innovations? Nanotechnology in drug delivery, especially that pills, nanocapsules, where the nanocapsules are deliver the drug in the targeted regions of the human body. So its collaboration is working with chemists, geneticists, and pharmacologists. So these are capsules of various sizes, which is fed to the human body for targeted drug delivery. So biomedical imaging and diagnostics, MRI, CT scans, ultrasound, these are being developed by biomedical engineers. When I say being developed, day by day, its efficiency is attempted to improve by changing minute algorithm changes or component changes to, as I said before, to give high resolution slices or images. Some of the diagnostic tools, emerging technologies here involve AI enhanced imaging, where the imaging is properly segmented out in cellular level, molecular level, and all. So diagnostic tools involve blood analyzers, biosensors, point of care devices. So point of care devices is handheld tools where the patients do not go to any testing centers or testing labs to test their blood glucose level or so on. So there is another concept called point of care testing, where point of care testing is the hospital and the research lab will be in close proximity to each other, so that the testing will be immediately done. The patient need not go to long distance for a blood test or whatever test. So this is point of care testing, which reduces the time. So innovative approaches in tissue engineering and regenerative medicine, where the biomedical engineer's role here is 3D printing of tissues. We all know about 3D printers. 2D printers print images, print text, print some letters and numbers on the papers. 3D printers used to print. We design some 3D designs, models in software, CAD software, convert into a file format and give it to the 3D printer in .g code format. Those are technical point of views. .g code format. The G code format will, if the printer is commanded, given command, it will print the models that is in the .g code format. In the same way, there are bioprinters, 3D bioprinters, where it prints tissues, organs. It prints even, it has printed organs like heart for animals. Here you can see this is some image of a bioprinter. It is shown that it is printing a liver by using some bio inks. We say them as bio inks. This is actually printing an heart of a sheep. Bioprinters, bioprinting artificial organs. So health informatics and AI for predictive diagnostics and personalized treatments. So these days, many students or almost students who work in AI work in a common research project Some of the research projects called what to say, early prediction of heart disease, early prediction of heart failure, early prediction of kidney diseases, so diabetics, etc. So AI neural networks will be used to train the existing data available, and it says when new data is given to the neural networks, it says whether this data of a person is affected by, he will be affected by a heart failure or kidney failure and so on. So the future trend is machine learning will decide the medical decision, whether this person has a stroke or heart failure and so on. So telemedicine is a distant medicine. Telesurgery is one of the example. So robotic surgery, I was saying, robot performing surgery, minute surgeries. Recent days, Sony has developed a robotic arms, a set of arms for a corn will be stitched and sliced up. So opportunities and challenges, growing healthcare demands are the opportunities. These are not challenges; these are opportunities. When demands grow, there comes the biomedical engineers by implementing technological advancements like AI, robotics, especially robotic surgeries. Some of the challenges are high cost and time. And I would like to say here is, if you want to become a researcher, if you want to become a passionate researcher in the field of biomedical engineering, be it any field that I was talking to you before, you need to dedicate yourself ample amount of time daily. It's like it should not be your work, it should be your life. You have to what we do in free time is we see mobiles, we watch TV for some time, we relax. Passionate researcher, it's a free time, work time, everything will be research. That's what I see a passionate researcher would be. uh, Keeping in mind health should be taken care of. Some regulatory hurdles, next point is regulatory hurdles. That is ethical approval should be taken properly, be it animal ethical committee or human ethical committee, and those permissions should be properly got before performing the tests or clinical trials of either devices or tablets on humans or animals. So skills and knowledge required: strong foundation in engineering and biology. First, you should know the basics of engineering and biology. Then second point is research methodology, how to carry out a research. Here I have highlighted statistical analysis. Every biomedical engineer, be it a fresher or be it an expert biomedical engineer, how in expertise he or she is in the field, he should know the statistical analysis. Statistical analysis is not like if there are two sets of data, you are calculating the mean, median, mode. That is not statistical analysis. The real raw statistical analysis is knowing about the ANOVA, analysis of variance, knowing about the p-value, knowing about the regression test. That is the statistical analysis. And computational modeling, it is about simulation. Simulation is virtually seeing what happens if it is implemented in real life, be it an implant, be it whatever device, fluid flow device, blood flow device, like that. So you should be proficient in some of the software and hardware tools like CAD, computer aided design softwares like SolidWorks, ProE, CATIA. If you any one of these softwares, if you want to work in the field of design and development, MATLAB for computation, Python for programming, especially for machine learning and deep learning. So these are the hard skills or core skills. Whatever hard or core skills we have, it is very important to have some soft skills. We have to form a proper team, communicate with the team. We have to show a lot of empathy. We have to understand them, communicate in a way that the works get completed, communicate to the outer circle other than our team, that this is our device, this is merits of the device, these are the limitations, these are the challenges. You should have some problem solving skills and leadership qualities for innovation. So career pathways for biomedical engineers involves academic research, corporate research in medical technologies. So government research institutes, there are several government research institutes, and entrepreneurships and startup also there are some career pathways. So future scope, the growth areas here are AI and machine learning applications. Even for these days, surgeries are done by using AI. Robotic surgeries are done using AI technology, where the tumor is properly located by the algorithm, and then the robotic hand or arm goes to remove the tumor, or even the human surgeon removes the tumor in an accurate way. So personalized medicine, 3D bioprinting, and regenerative medicine. Regenerative medicine is implanting a printed bioprinted organ in the body so that it grows. That is one of the example. So wearables and home health monitoring, where we wear some pulse rate monitor or heart rate monitor to monitor our heart condition. So long-term impact shaping the future of healthcare if these growth areas are addressed. So conclusion is biomedical engineers are driving innovation in healthcare R&D. So they should encourage their peers, or they should encourage themselves to for continuous learning and engagement with cutting edge technologies. Daily spend ample amount of time in learning technologies, practicing technologies, implementing them is a key to success. So this is my overall discussion about the role of biomedical engineers in R&D sectors. Uh, I will share some of my. This is my LinkedIn profile where you can connect for if you would like to for further collaboration.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for a wonderful session, sir. You can
Yes,
share your valuable insight in the research and development in biomedical, and then share about the various domain in biomedical, sir. It is very helpful for us and then students also, sir.
yes, Manoj.
And
Thank
then,
you.
thank you, sir. Participants, if you have any queries, kindly ask to the sir or put it in the text box.
Manoj, can I answer from the first question? It's about what is bioprinting.
Yes, sir, sure, sir.
So bioprinting is that's what I was saying, Muguntana. It was about we are printing. 2D printing is printing of images, text, and alphabets in a paper. The 3D printer is printing objects using polymers, plastics. Bioprinting is printing of organs, human organs using a bioprinter, using hydrogels, using resins, bioresins, printing of organs. This is the process of bioprinting. Mohammed Sahil, can you guide the students for applying? You mean patent or pattern, or you mean patent, right? PATENT.
Yes, sir. That is pattern, sir.
Yes, Mohammed, I can guide students. I have personally filed two patents. One got published and one complete specification file. So I have that experience too for filing patents, product patents. I can help you in that. If you can contact me or connect with me in the LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the only website I am actively available. Uh, you can connect message. You can mail me through that too. So Arun Adi, as a final year biomedical engineering student, what are the opportunities for freshers to enter R&D? What skills or qualifications to would help increase my chances of securing a position in R&D right after graduation? Ah, Arun Adi, you are a final year biomedical engineering student. I would advise you to choose a field. You are saying that you want to get into R&D, right? What is your field of interest? Any field that may be. You need not even answer now. You can answer later, or but this is my suggestion. It would be whatever field. For example, rehabilitation engineering. Students say if some point of time I ask the students, what is your field of interest? They say rehabilitation engineering. In rehabilitation engineering, what do you want to do? I want to work on upper limb biomechanics. In upper limb biomechanics, what do you want to do? Prosthetics. In prosthetics, what do you want to do? So that you can narrow down, ask many questions, ask many questions you want yourselves, and then find the answers. Then go to your mentor. Find a mentor who will be very close to you, would be suggesting you a lot of insights to make you learn and grow. It is not only about the technical skills you grow, it's about the proper mentor you choose. Work daily on the field, study a lot of research papers, review papers, have a goal to study some 20 research papers for 2 months, like that. In the starting, I used to read around 70 to 80 research papers per month. That's the practice. Take notes of the field of interest, take notes of the devices, take notes of the designs you want to, any prosthetic or orthotic design, for example, if that is your field. Have a note, take note of that. The opportunities you get is based on, the question is subjective. What opportunities will be acquired by rehabilitation engineer is what field he is interested in and what he wants to concentrate and what he wants to develop. It's not skills or qualifications, is we are our skills and we are our qualifications. Work daily, work hard, and keep asking questions and find answers, and go to your mentor. That is the thing. After graduation, it's about, if you can say what field you are working on, I can say what chances you or want to get. If you want to be a full-on R&D engineer, you can go for higher studies, MS or MTech, and then pursue a PhD. In industrial fields also there are R&D sectors, but you have to be very thorough with your basics and did some projects in that field. Sir, at my college, I that answered your question, I think, Arun Adi. Sir, at my college, I tried to implement organ on chip project, but I don't know how to complete it. I am interested to develop my knowledge in microfluidic area with industries. Damodaran. Before choosing a project, whatever project it is, I would advise the students to see or to confirm whether the resources for the project you want to do or you want to complete are available nearby. When I say nearby, you, for example, you are traveling for 1 or 2 hours and acquiring that facility, doing the research. Facility nearby and the time you take to reach to that facility and complete is the key here. I would like to go to the basics and talk about this to you. If you want to try to implement organ on chip project, you please don't call it as a project, you call it as a research. How many research papers you read on it? On what organ on chip you want to develop, or what you want to implement? Have you studied any research papers? Have you studied any review papers? What have they said? What are the possibilities? What are the chances for completing it? And what is the duration you have planned? So this is the input I would like to give. Instead of giving you, this is the answer for your question, I would say this is the questions for your question. Like that, I would say these questions you try to ponder, and if you don't know how to complete it, it means that you need to revisit where you started, how you started, what you had in mind, and you started it is the key. It's not about simply encouraging you, yes you can do it, yes you can complete it. That would not be a guidance of a proper researcher. I hope that answered you, Damodaran. You can connect with me in LinkedIn so that I can help you, or any contact you can with research papers or papers associated to it. Kavi, sir, I'm interested in biosensor research. Any idea? So again, the same question is, what research you want to do in biosensor, Kavi? What type of biosensor? There are several biosensors. Did you research about that biosensor? There are several journals. Biosensor. If you put simply in even ChatGPT or in Google, list out some of the biosensor journals available. Go and study the biosensor available through the research and review articles. What researches they have conducted in the biosensors so far, and the most important thing is what biosensor you want to work is the most important question. Yes, you can work, definitely you can work. Keep in mind the facilities around you, how well you could reach it, how well you could complete it, and the budget you are going to put for that, and will it be feasible for completion. So I am a researcher full time, so that I there is nothing called an abstract answer. Yes, you can do this. Yes, you can do that. I would ask some questions and try to get the answers from you. So thanks for your yes. Thank you, Arun Adi. Kavi, I hope that helped your question.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable answers to the participants, sir.
Thank you.
And then thank you for acceptance, sir. Sir, and then another one question, sir.
Sir, you shared
Sir,
about art. Yes, pa.
sir, you shared about articles. Is there any specific company available that provide articles about BME department in offline, sir?
Uh, Nurul Hasina, there to answer your question, there are no specific companies for research articles. Ma. You can there are several journals, Scopus and SCIE index journals. SCIE means Science Citation Index Expanded, online journals where you can access thousands of articles on whatever keywords you put. If you go to, for example, PubMed, I would give you that website link. PubMed, very valuable website where you can get a lot of articles oriented to engineering and medicine together. Very valuable website. If you go and type the keyword in this website, you can go to this website, what articles you want. For example, if you want drug delivery, type drug delivery, and I can show that as an example for you all. Is my screen visible,
Yes, sir,
Manoj?
visible, sir.
Ah,
Yes, sir, visible.
okay. Drug delivery. I just put drug delivery and see how many papers are listed here. See here, page 1 of 11,907. Each page has 10 articles, so that 11,907, you see how much into 10. So 1,19,070. This is one very small example of searching papers. Research papers. PubMed is a very good website. As you said, SCIC, what's that SCIC? I could not get it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
And then I called Arno, biomedical trainer at ATHEENAPANDIAN Private Limited, and then invite our next chief.
It is honored to present our next speaker. We are excited to welcome Mr. Anand Sushi Sir, Operations Lead at CareerNet, to our South Indian Biomedical Industrial Conference. With a strong background in project and operation management, he has extensive experience in leading cross-functional teams and optimizing processes to drive growth and efficiency. At CareerNet, he oversees the daily operations and coordinates with executives to ensure the successful execution of the CEO's vision. He is skilled in developing innovative solutions, streamlining operations, and managing stakeholder relationships. His commitment to excellence is evident in his ability to create actionable plans that align with organizational goals. Mr. Sushi holds an engineering degree in biomedical engineering from Anna University and has demonstrated a proven track record in managing complex projects and enhancing operational performance. Let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Anand Sushi sir as he shares his insights and expertise with us today. Now the section is over to you, sir.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for a wonderful introduction. Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful sessions. So, if like Varuna had given a brief introduction, I did my biomedical engineering. Post that, I started my career in one of the surgical company. It was mainly into surgical navigation development, and it was one of the forefront company in India to build a surgical navigation in India. So from there, my journey was mainly in biomedical for around 5 years. For the past 2 years, I'm currently mainly focusing into management and operational side. So overall, my journey, I had came across lots of things in the biomedical industry which are like in different like jobs in different patterns and categories. So mostly I like to talk about what are the kind of jobs available in the market, and what are the how we can approach those kind of jobs, what are the kind of skills required for these kind of jobs. So I think most of you people are aware like what are the jobs currently available as a biomedical engineer. If you have any kind of things, you can just put in the chat so we can see what all different answers people are aware with. Anyone, just what are the jobs if you feel like, what are things you feel like is readily available for an college pass out or like available there in the market if you fine. So I can say like mainly the jobs are there in, two, three categories we can say. If you go for purely into biomedical, we can say the main job availability is in the market and medical devices. That's the core focus of a biomedical. So in that medical device, there are many classifications of functions of job. So one function is sales and another is application, which is a sub function of sale. So yeah, sales, service, application, clinical engineer, regulatory affairs, and medical coding. Yeah, so on. So then if you see medical device, we can have in every company have different departments like finance, marketing, sales, like that. Mainly for biomedical engineers in the medical device, it's sales one function, service, application. Application can be considered as a sub function for sales. So mostly people are very reluctant to join sales. The reason is like, okay, there are many much pressure for to put up a sale, and we are the engineers. Why do we need to sell like that? But mostly, if you see, an expert only can only sell the expert devices. Like if you say an MRI machine, if you give to some random MBA guy or someone, they might not able to explain in a way like how an engineer can explain about it. So if someone who is very passionate about uh, talking and having a very much enthusiasm to interact with lots of people and to have a business understanding about the industries and everything, for that person, sales is a wonderful domain. There we can grow in an exponential manner, because in India, if you see the growth in a financial and other factors is mostly related to sales currently. So when it comes to application, which is also sub function so of sales, so there you will be like kind of mostly um, providing like it's a demo we can say, or like a training. So this person will be expert in the particular product, and they will be like helping the team like various departments. Suppose it can be nurses, it can be doctors, it can be other biomedical engineers, or like other department peoples. So we'll be helping them to how to operate this device, providing the uh, demo for the sales to understand. So that person should have whatever the thing in biomedical. I uh, feel like the person should have a very good thorough understanding about the technology, and person should have a very decent understanding about the medical terminology and functionalities of a like you should have a thorough understanding of physiology and anatomy, because we are going to interact with people who are highly trained in the physiology or anatomy, or like they are well versed with it. So when you want to impress someone, when you want to have a good understanding, this knowledge is very much important. And simultaneously, the person should have a very huge understanding about the technology part as well. But to have an interaction, you should have a very good understanding of medical terminologies and the details, like especially like what is physiology of each part, organs, and like anatomies and well. So when it comes to an application engineer, like I said now, the person, if they want to give a demo, the person should know about the mission well, and also the person should have a understanding. And it is these two jobs and also the service, all three jobs have a aspect like traveling, because everywhere the client will be hospitals. So the people who are going forward for this kind of jobs, they should be very much ready to travel. Then only this particular domain they will able to survive in a longer journey. So next comes, we can say, like hospitals. Each hospital works in a different category. So some hospital, the biomedical engineers have more responsibility than some other hospital. Some hospitals just, it will be more of like a documentation work. Some hospital they'll be like they need to repair. They will be having in-house development center. They will be developing new devices also in collaboration with some other universities plus the in-house doctors. Especially I have seen these kind of things, surgeons or like research institute hospitals and all. One such example, we can say Amda Hospital in Kochi and St. John's in Bangalore all have this kind of capabilities. They go on for developing numerous various devices or solutions for various treatments and all. So, and next thing we can say, will whatever the things comes jobs after this will be slightly deviated from biomedical engineering, but it is also we can be considered as an engineering. So there is one core job which, as for as an engineer in any stream, will be kind of R&D. So research and development. For research and development, currently in India, is a kind of an emerging space for Indian market. Previously, there were not much available research were happening in India, but thanks to our government who are investing a lot in this industry. And previously, most of our machines in the Indian market were imported from various countries, especially from Europe, US, and Japan, Korea, and China. So now, 90%, if you say in number, more than 90% of the devices sold in India were brought from these countries. Now, because of some government initiatives, some projects, and other things, we can see a lot of new companies coming up. They are getting funding and all, so they are able to produce numerous new machines. And India is fourth largest medical device market in the world. So being such a big market, there are local players who are coming, like mainly we can say domestic companies who are coming up with new age solution, and they are bringing up new products to the market. So if you can tap, if you can do a research yourself, you can what are the companies in India doing this kind of, what are the startups, you can go into those companies, have connect through LinkedIn, you can have a chit chat with the people. If it is of your interest, you go and propose them. I have interest in so and so thing. You should not be like, okay, I have research in some biosensor, like I am interested in so and so. It should be much more well and precise, or like it should be crisp, like what you are going to say, so that it will give little bit okay interest in other person. He can even contact you, like that's how I have seen people who ended up in kind of internship or other things and get placed in this kind of research. So someone who is very much looking forward for research job, they should like do a background analysis. Like they need to do their own research and what are the companies doing in India or in outside India, and what are their currently expertise or what are they building on, what are the technologies they are using. Connect with people in LinkedIn, through LinkedIn with these people who are working in these companies, and after that you can have understanding like what are you can say your interest, and you can say what, just connect and get interacted with them initially. Then you may able to, if on the track, if you are able to get into an internship or something, that can lead to a full-time job as well. So that is one part. So there is a scope for research currently in India, but it is on a kind of emerging phase. It will take a little more time to get into a more scaled manner. Currently, it is in all not that scale. It is on a limited number. So you can explore yourself. Like, and next it comes slightly deviated section, which is called like regulatory affairs or like medical coding or clinical research. And there are many other factors. Like if you see someone who want to develop some systems or like new technologies in healthcare, the most of the company asks for is like a soft like programming. What are the programs you are aware of? Like what are the program uh, tools you are familiar with? You can go to LinkedIn and search jobs related to this, and you can understand what are the kind of skills mostly companies are looking for, which are the programming languages companies are very much needed. So if clinical data management or data in healthcare, which is data is very much important in the current age, and whoever is very much interested to play with data, there are plenty of opportunities available for them in a tech background, where who will have they will have an upper hand because they are from biomedical, they are engineer, they have the capability to build data managing things, like build a platform for like uh, data analytics tools, and then if you can learn like Power BI or like Python, SQL, and all those things, you will be having an upper hand because you will be able to understand the medical terminologies as well. So you will able to have a better presentation of matters in front of the team, and also which will help. So these people will be having upper hand. And next thing, it will come to clinical data, clinical research, which is mainly into pharmaceutical. And in the clinical research had two categories, which is also like drug and pharmaceutical. So drug category is mainly taken care of by farmers, B farm people, and also I have seen plenty of biomedical engineers who are working in this that side as well. And there is one other category called medical devices, which is a core for a biomedical engineer. So that also require, if there are many online articles and books available to read and understand, or there are some very very short term, like very small courses available in Udemy, and all, which are 500 rupees, just 500 or max 1000, I have seen. So who want to understand, to get an understanding about this, you can go and register in these courses, and you can get an understanding what exactly is this. Get connected with people from these companies, their TA, or the people who are working in this field, and try to apply for jobs in these things. And the chances of getting selected for these kind of jobs for biomedical engineers are pretty high. That's what in so far what I have seen. So, in general, these are the kind of classifications we can see, like sales, service, application, and also the sub functions like clinical, regulatory affairs, or medical coding. These are the kind of things. So, if I say in India, the currently uh, the market is at around 11 to 15 billion US dollars, the market valuation for medical devices in India, which is expected to grow to 50 billion US dollars by 2030. So in another 6 years, our it is going to be is going in exponential manner. The requirement for people to handle various tasks will be pretty higher. So, and it is growing at an annual rate of 19%, 19 to 20%, which is really a good percentage if you compare other industries in India. IT and other industries are going at a rate of 10 to 12%, I hope. So, comparing that, 20%, 19, 20% growth per year is considered a pretty good. So, someone who is interested in like kind of mm, business and other aspect, they can look forward for like doing MBA or like kind of thing. So that healthcare management, and can get into consultings of companies like Optum, McKinsey, and other. They have a dedicated team who are there to guide companies. Draft, okay, what are the technologies available in the market? How, like, it's a consulting job. Mostly what consultant do is like they will have a problem to address. So they will understand the problem first, then they will uh, analyze what are the things what are the issues affecting this, what are the causes for this problem, and how we can rectify this problem, and how we can overcome this problem. So this is a kind of a consultant. They will be kind of proposing methods like to address these queries. So, if you want to look forward for a job in consulting, better go and do one MBA from the prestigious institutes, and you will able to get into a job in consulting. And mostly there are plenty of companies in India who are providing healthcare consulting. One top leading firm is like Optum is a pretty good example for that. Then we have normal consulting firm like McKinsey, BCG, Boston, and all like that. They also have their dedicated healthcare consulting wing. So this is what I feel like people who can looking for jobs immediately after they, what are the categories they can focus on, how we diversify. So before that you need to you can try to have a interaction with people who are from different backgrounds like this, and try to understand what is their day-to-day life and how it can be what are the challenges they are facing on day-to-day, or like what is something which they are not liking in their job. So if you can have a picture of these things, it will help you to get into a better space, like before getting just immediately after college, rather than getting into some random jobs in some function. You can get into some function which you might be liking it. So from the very initial period itself, your experience going to be counted in the thing which is your passion. So eventually it will give you a booster for your long career journey also. So mostly people, I have seen people getting into some initial job which might be campus placement or by themselves, they might find out by themselves. So after that they realize, okay, this is not something which is set meant for them, so they should focus on other categories. Then again they need to put effort and like, getting into that track. So if like mostly if you can do these things now, it will be like a little more time saving to fast track your career. So I think that's what I can give you from my journey as a career advice, if I am saying.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable thoughts on biomedical roles, sir. And then you can share your real experience. That is very helpful for the students, sir. Participants, if you have any doubts, kindly ask to the sir or put it in the chat box.
So like I can say one thing, like in my initial days, I have worked with mm, world famous neurosurgeons, like the top three neurosurgeons in the world. I have worked with them. So I have supported more than 100 plus neurosurgery, which is from awake neurosurgery, where the patient is awake and all. We will be performing surgery. So that was a wonderful journey for me, because I have seen different varieties of cases, even some surgeons uh, who are doing first time at the age of 50 and all. So I was little privileged to uh, get exposed to these kind of procedures, which have helped me to get a deeper understanding about medical aspect, and which have helped me to clear lots of new so what is like uh, there were many issues in each device on like when we launched. So I was able to part of that team who have able to rectify these new issues which we are facing, to make the product market ready, or like to make the product much more better which can be competed with the international product and such. So like when you are doing something, try to be a little more innovative, try to question why this is happening, so why it is happening in a different way. Suppose like some, if you are facing some issue with the light while performing a surgery, you might think that, okay, this light is working like that. If you this is standard way it meant to work. If, rather than thinking in that way, if you can think like, okay, why, what is the solution, what we can do, so that it will be little more easier, little more convenient for our tool, or for the surgeon, then if you can come up with innovative solution for it, that can give more impact even in your career growth. So these kind of suggestions to your managers, to your company, may help you to get into different levels. So I was initially joined as a just clinical application specialist, but since I have attended numerous surgeries, I had put my hand in research and development. I have put my hand in developing the products as such, and also into the sales application. Because if we have a very good product, if you don't know how to market it, if you don't know how to sell it in the market, this product is not going to give you any worth. So I had put my hand in every functions that had led me to get into this kind of consulting based job currently which I am on. So like you should never be idle. Try to explore more things from whatever you are doing, which will help to grow the career in a different trajectory.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, thank you so much. I hope you will have a wonderful session from the next person. Bye.
Yeah,
Thank
sir.
you.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I call upon Miss Aruna, biomedical trainer, ATHEENAPANDIAN Private Limited, and then invite to the next meeting.
Now, I would like to take a moment to introduce our next esteemed speaker. We are pleased to welcome Mr. Abdul Rahman Sharif, sir, Regulatory Affairs Manager at Siemens Healthineers, to our South Indian Biomedical Industrial Conference. Mr. Sharif is an expert in medical device regulatory affairs dedicated to ensuring that medical devices are safe and compliant with the regulations. With a degree in biomedical engineering, he has successfully managed various regulatory projects, including the transition to EUMDR for active medical devices. His experience spans a range of devices such as interventional X-ray systems and ECG equipment. Mr. Sharif is also an IRCA certified lead auditor for ISO 13485 2016, showcasing his commitment to highly quality medical devices and navigating the regulatory landscape effectively. Let's extend a warm welcome to Mr. Abdul Rahman Sharif, sir, to share his valuable insights with us today. So now the section is over to you, sir.
Hello. Hi. Is my voice audible?
Ah, yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Okay. Okay. So first of all, thank you so much for this opportunity that you have created this wonderful platform where there's so many people in here looking for career guidance and the to trying to explore the opportunities ahead. And I was also patiently hearing the previous speakers. So it is really interesting to know that some of my presentation slides are kind of overlapping, which is good to know because then we are all on the same page. So just give me a moment. Let me present my screen. Let me know once you can see my screen.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir. Yes, the screen is visible, sir.
Perfect. So I'll be also moving the slides. If at all you don't see the slides moving, please let me know. So
Okay, sir. Sure.
yes, I was actually wondering what topic should I be talking about, and then looking at the recent developments that have happened in the regulatory space, I thought why not to talk something on the new opportunities that may be coming in our way with respect to the new regulatory landscape. So that's why I chose this topic to unlock the new opportunities in the growing regulatory landscape. Okay, so I have moved to the introduction slide. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Thank
Visible, sir.
you. Okay. So before we go ahead, a little bit of my introduction. So my name is Abdul Rahman Sharif, and I'm from Bangalore. I'm currently working with Siemens Healthineers as a regulatory affairs manager, and I come with a technical background of medical electronics engineering, and I have about 10 years of experience in medical device industry. I have worked for companies like HCL, Wipro, Capgemini, Philips, and now with Siemens. So my expertise is in the interventional radiology and cardiology. I have worked with the markets like Europe, US, Canada, and some of the Asia Pacific countries. And my domain expertise lies in the quality and regulatory affairs. And some of the products I've worked with are with the radiology, cardiology, and laser systems. So some projects I've worked with the MDR transition submission for the US 510K, European technical file submission, Canada submissions, some of the safety and maintenance releases, a design change assessment in the regulatory impact, and also on the license renewals and the audit support. So that was a quick introduction about myself, and moving on to the today's topic. So before we move there, disclaimer that content of this presentation is basically my view, and it does not have anything to do any of the companies that I am associated or in the past. Okay, so normally before we start, I begin with this slide. Will you be prepared? So there is a beautiful quote by Thomas Alva Edison. Good fortune is what happens when opportunity meets with planning. So there has to be an opportunity and there has to be subsequent planning, and only then you meet the opportunity. So the question is, will you be prepared or are you prepared to take it up? Probably in the coming slides, uh, you might get to know. So agenda of the presentation, we'll be going over the scope of medtech industry, a little bit of competitive analysis, how the regulatory landscape is growing, how the regulatory changes impact the industry, and what is the impact on the manufacturer. And we will also have a case study on the patient monitor. But most importantly, I hope you guys will stick around because the last couple of slides is with respect to career strategy, and this is something which I have been sharing with many people who have taken the heat, and now they're in different companies at varied positions. So that is something which was really interesting. Okay, let's begin. So starting with the scope of medtech industry, I think of course many people have already spoken about it, but I do have some real facts for you, which is taken from Fortune Business Insights. So this slide is something which I had prepared long back, maybe a couple of years back, and I think somewhere around in 2020, I believe, if I'm not wrong. And this was the projection that the medical device medtech industry is projected to grow up to 600 billion USD. That was the projection by 2025. And now, when I was preparing the or updating my presentation for today, I just happened to go to the same site and check what is the update from the latest report, and we get to see these numbers. So by 2023, we are about 518 billion USD, and 24 we touched about 542. So there you see, we are actually growing based on the projection that was there a couple of years ago. And as per the latest report that we have, yeah, as per the latest report that we have, the projection is to grow about 886 billion USD, and this is by 2032. And now you can see the strength or the medical device market size, which is growing potentially or and exponentially. So from 2024 till 2032, we are almost growing by about 300 billion. So that's a big growth that is anticipated. And with this growth, definitely there are going to be multiple opportunities, and India would be the hub for that. So going forward, global medical device market share. So I think so there were some people who were asking questions with respect to different segments. It could be AI, software, ML, and all of that. But before that, the market share in the globe is basically divided as per the report in different segments. And out of these, let's say this one is the orthopedic devices, which is sharing quite a major share. And then you also have cardiovascular devices and the diagnostic imaging. So this is the imaging sector. So in the medical devices, these three are some of the major shareholders. And then we have about close to 15% of the entire section with respect to the IVDs, the lab equipments. And then, of course, we have the other devices like the imaging systems, wound management, diabetic, ophthalmic devices, and dental, and the other general surgery, etc. So the most important that you might be interested in to look at the opportunities, because these are the segments that are sharing the market share. So that is orthopedic devices, cardiovascular devices, and the diagnostic imaging. Okay, so going ahead, market devices, medical devices market, and this is by region. Broadly across the globe, the regions are classified or segregated into, let's say, five different regions, and I have placed it in the ascending order of the region which is having the most sales or the biggest market. Likewise, so the first is always the North America. This is USA and Canada combined, and the second biggest market in the world for medical devices is Europe. Third comes in the list is Asia Pacific, APAC countries. And then we have Middle East and Africa, which is mostly covering the African countries and the Gulf countries. And then we have South America, like we have Brazil, Argentina, and the other South American countries. Now, why is this really important to know that? Why is region important? Because region tells you that where is the business that is there, or where is the innovation that is happening. So where there is innovation, 100% there is business. And that's how the regulatory landscape is expanding, it's growing, because uh, based on the location, based on the region, the regulatory requirements are considered to be stringent, or the regulatory requirements are coming in from these regions. So US, of course, there are so many requirements to get the US clearance. It is not so easy. Likewise, the Europe, and then some of the Asia Pacific. And it is really important to know, if you are actually making medical devices in future, you would definitely be looking at the market, and you will also be looking what kind of diseases that are there in different regions. And that's how normally a company looks at, let's say if a company is launching a medical device, they wouldn't be launching that medical device in the entire world at once. So there would be some target specific countries. They might launch it first in the US, and then they might move it to Europe, and then they will go for the clearance in the Asia Pacific, and then maybe to the other countries. So this is typically a regulatory strategy that the companies take, because that's how the business would be coming in, and they would be addressing the needs of the patients in those countries. Okay, so coming to the competitive analysis, the global medical device market is highly competitive, like and with a number of large and small players operating in the market. So something interesting that you might like to see this. Some of the major players in the market include Medtronic, Johnson and Johnson, Siemens, GE Healthcare, Philips, Stryker, Abbott, Boston Scientific, Becton Dickinson, and some of the companies that are under the Nahar Corporation. And the good news is, almost all of these companies have their R&D centers or setups in India, and mostly it's in South India, except for, let's say, Boston Scientific, which is in the north part, but Stryker is also there in Bangalore. Likewise, you have Medtronic in Hyderabad and also in Bangalore. So this is something that we really need to look at and take advantage of, the companies that are there in our reach. And these companies come in the top 10 or top 15 medical device companies in the world, and they also hold the major share in the market. Okay, so now coming to the growing regulatory landscape and how this can be an opportunity for medtech industry. So if you look at some of the key changes that have happened right from 2017. So 2017 was the publication of the EU regulation, which came in, EU MDR and EU IVDR. And at the same time or similar timeline, we also had medical device rules from India. And then in 2018, European General Data Protection Regulation came into force. 2020, there was Brexit. UK got separated from EU, and then Switzerland followed UK in 2021. And then in 2023, we have new regulation coming in for Bangladesh. A new drug act came in. And then in 2023, Mexico came up with a regulation update where it said that software as medical devices need to be regulated separately, and there is a separate annex 10 that has come up for that. And then in 2024 we have the Artificial Intelligence Act that came in EU, and this is the first regulation on artificial intelligence in the European continent. And then we have in 2024 Australia with some new classification rules for the software as medical devices. And then in 2026, in the next years, the United States, the quality management system regulation is coming into effect, which is in line with ISO 13485, which is the medical device quality management system for the medical devices. So these are very few of the changes that I have listed here. Likewise, there are so many country regulations that are either newly that have come into the scene, or there lot of regulations have got updated and they're coming up with their own rules, trying to align with the new regulations in US or Europe. And this is how it becomes an opportunity, and we are going to see in the next slides how this is an opportunity, why a regulatory update may be an opportunity uh, for the engineers, not just biomedical engineers, but for any engineering or research stream. So when we look at the regulatory requirements, they're broadly classified into two halves. Okay, one is your pre-market requirement, and then the other one is your post-market requirement. So in the pre-market requirement, we have requirements like registration of the company, registration of the product, registration of the economic operators, and then we have a requirement for the company to have a quality management system, for the product to comply with the safety performance requirements to the applicable standards, and there has to be design and development based on certain set standards, and those standards have to be recognized by the regulations of the particular countries. And then there is product testing, there is clinical evaluation, manufacturing, type testing, technical file documentation, and then finally we have the conformity assessment procedure, or let's say this is more of the regulatory authorities looking at the application and then signing off and issuing the license or the certificate. So all of these requirements come in the pre-market requirement. And then when we look at the post-market requirements, so there is this blue line that I have placed here. So this is something we call as placing the device in the market. So let's say once we have received the certificate or we have received the license, and then now we are legally allowed to sell the medical device in the market, and then comes our post-market requirements. So we have some requirements like post-market surveillance, where the manufacturers are required to actively monitor how their products are performing in the field. And then we also have clinical follow-up on certain clinical aspects. The risk management does not stop, which has started right in the pre-market phase. It is still continuing in the post-market phase as well. And then we also have the vigilance and trend reporting. So this is about looking on the serious incidents, or maybe not so serious, but potentially serious incidents that could have happened, and there would be a reporting to the regulatory authorities on things like somebody got injured, a patient died because of the malfunction of the equipment. So all of these things come under the vigilance and trend reporting. And likewise, based on what we get the information from the field, we try to make the medical device better and better, taking the feedback from the field. And accordingly, the documentation that we have prepared here in the design development, risk management, clinical evaluation, and all of these processes, those documents are going to be updated. And this is going to be like a live update. The documents are always going to be updated. And then we also have in the post-market phase something called as surveillance audits or recertification. the surveillance audits and the recertification depends from country to country. Some countries may have 3 years, some countries may have 5 years license validity. So based on that, there would be re-audits, or we call that a surveillance audit, and then recertification happens. And some countries, there would be no audit. There would be just sending an application for the product license renewal, and then we renew the license for the next 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years. So these are the regulatory requirements that get impacted. And whenever a regulation changes, it may not hit, or it may not affect all of the requirements that are here, but maybe bits and pieces. And accordingly, there would be impact in those particular segments in the industry. So regulatory changes impact. And why is it that we have to comply with the new regulation? So what happens when we don't, or why should we do that? So the first one is to continue the presence in the markets. So if the manufacturers are not complying with the new regulations that are coming in, then they would not be allowed to sell their products in those markets. Now let's say in India we have CT scanner from Philips, from GE, and also Siemens. Okay, and India is coming up with a new regulation, and let's say out of these three companies, one company is not complying. Then this obviously gives the opportunity for the other two companies to take the share of the third company, which is not complying with the Indian regulations, because the third company would not be allowed to sell their CT scanners in India. And then to continuously support the patient needs. So how the medical device manufacturers are actually depending on the patients, on the end users for the business, the same way the patients are dependent on the manufacturers to meet their needs. The doctors are expecting the high-end equipment, new research, new technology from the manufacturer. And there is a close collaboration between the end users, the clinics, hospitals, doctors, users, with the manufacturers, where they jointly conduct some research and they come up with better products. So that should be taken care, and that is the reason that the manufacturers are really required to comply with the regulatory changes, so that they don't stop that support to address the patient needs. And then of course, for the bread and butter, there has to be business continuity, and that is another reason. And the most important here is adherence to the transition timeline. So every regulation, when it is published, there is going to be some transition timeline, like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So the manufacturers really have to keep a tab on that and make sure the QMS, their procedures, processes are all in line with the new regulation before the transition timeline is up. So now coming to the entities affected with the regulatory changes. So there are two different kinds of entities that are affected. The first one is end user, or let's say we have direct users or patients, where there are some medical devices that we are using it directly from the pharmacy, or we can just buy it from the store. For an example, a thermometer, or electronic BP device that we normally have it in our houses, or at some small clinics. So these are some of the devices that we are using it directly. And then we also have users like doctors who are buying the equipments at clinics and the hospitals. So these are categorized as one end user. And then we have economic operators. So under economic operators, we have manufacturers, distributors, importers, and all the other people. But how is it that they are getting impacted? If the manufacturer is not complying with the regulatory requirements on time, and they're not meeting the regulation, then there would be an issue with respect to the availability of the medical device. So that device will no longer be placed in that market until they comply with the regulation. So there is an issue with respect to the availability of the medical device. So there will be issue with availability. There will be issue. The company may have to pay some fines if they are not complying with any of the regulatory requirement. And in some cases, example in EU, if there is a issue with respect to GDPR and all of these stringent regulations, there is a clause where the head of the company or the head person liable can and more work is going to come in the industry. Now, types of economic operators, we have manufacturers, the companies, product companies, we have authorized agents, we have importers, and then we have distributors. So all of these combined are under the economic operators broadly classified, and all of these entities will get affected whenever there is a regulatory change or regulatory new requirement that comes in, which may be applicable to one or more of these entities. Okay, so moving on to the impact on the manufacturer. So a typical regulatory change may have an effect on the quality management system. S- I think the time is not really, we have so much time that I can get into details of all of this, but if you have any questions, you can definitely ask in the Q&A. One of the typical regulatory change that may, have an effect is any update to the QMS of the company, or it may have a change effect on the product design or specifications, or the effect may be on the product labeling, or it may be a new requirement altogether. And a typical compliance plan or a remediation plan would be laid at the company. And how do we make sure that we are meeting the new requirements in the regulation or the regulation update is, first thing, we perform a gap assessment of the regulation. So we try to bring out what are the new requirements that have come in the regulation. And then based on that, the first most important thing is, if there is any new requirement that comes in, it has to be a part of your QMS, quality management system. So the first thing we do is make new policies and procedures to address the new requirement. And then based on the kind of requirement that is, it could be a product design related requirement, it could be a specification related requirement, or it could be some new standards. Likewise, we try to redesign our products to meet the regulation. And then there would be retesting and certification. And then finally we would be doing a compliance check and apply for license or recertification. And once we have the license in place, we go back to the market with our new product that is compliant with the new regulation. So this is a typical impact on the manufacturer and the response by the manufacturer. So moving on to a case study. Let's say we are looking at a patient monitor. I'm sure all of you might have done some hospital visits. You might have seen a patient monitor, and you also know the intended use of a patient monitor. So I will just read it out to you. A medical device that measures a patient's vital signs and display the data so obtained, which may or may not be transmitted on a monitoring network. The patient monitor acquires biomedical signals, processes, amplifies, and filters the signals, and continuously displays the results. So there would be some accessories like ECG cables, which are coming in patient contact. And the patient monitor also has a graphical interface, which gives us the visual information. And there would also be an alarm system where if the physiological parameters of the patient are either going below or above the set parameters, there would be an alarm that may be either visual, or the alarm may be audible. So some of the examples of how a change in regulation will impact the product or the company. Let's say there is a new requirement in a post-market surveillance. So that is one of the regulatory trigger which is going to affect the company, where we are going to make new procedure, uh, new documentation, or more documentation is required. Now, when there is a new requirement in post-market surveillance, then there would be requirements like collecting the customer feedback, looking at the complaints, making a data of all those complaints of the last 2 years, analyzing which is a serious issue, which is a non-serious issue, and all of that. So how is this an opportunity for a biomedical engineer is, now this is part of your QMS. Post-market surveillance becomes a part of the QMS, and it is a mandatory requirement to be done on a daily basis. Now, who are the people who are more aware of medical devices? Because whenever a complaint has come in, the person who is looking at the complaint, they should also be knowing about medical device. They should also be having analytical skills. They should also be knowing a little bit on the clinical front. They should have some experience with hospital setup, clinic setup. So if we look at biomedical engineering or the exposure that we have for the biomedical engineers, they are the right fit to actually look at post-market surveillance, or people who have handled medical devices practically, who have given demonstrations in the field. They are the ones who are expert in analyzing the complaints and then concluding what kind of issue this might be. Is it a product related issue, or is it a use related issue? Likewise, so that is one opportunity that is there now. Because of EU MDR, there are so many people who are actually getting into the post market surveillance area. And then there could be an update in the product specific standard. So let's say there is an electrical standard, and for safety, EMI, EMC, and then we also have performance related standard for ECG or any other parameter. uh, Now, whenever there is an update in the product specific standard, we really need to see if this is going to impact a product design or not. And in some cases, or most of the cases, this may have an impact. So we may have to do some changes in user UI, or we may have to do some changes with respect to the visual alarms or anything like that. Then we do a redesign of the product. Now when we are doing redesign of the product, we are not just looking at one product. There are thousands and thousands of medical devices in the field, and if we are to sell these devices, to continuously sell these devices in future, we need to comply with the new regulation. Now we are looking at doing the redesign of the product for thousands and thousands of medical devices. So that's like, if you break down, one company might have to do redesign for 120 products, 500 products, or 1000 products. So this is how the door for the opportunities will open whenever the regulatory landscape is expanding. And then some of the new requirements that have I have personally seen, which is actually creating new jobs, is your cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. And of course, we also have labeling. I know so many people from mechanical stream, from biomedical, who are extensively working on product labeling. So it could be update of user manual, assessment of the user manual, product labels, and all of it. So now looking at how the development normally happens, now that you have seen what kind of regulatory triggers come in, how different teams work together to make sure the product development happens in order to meet the regulation. So you see this green band here. So this is your quality management system, which is again mostly supported by the quality team and the regulatory team. And the team makes sure that there are set procedures and policies to address all the new requirements in the regulation. And under them, we have again design and development team, we have a marketing team or clinical team who are going to look at the user requirements. The regulatory team is there to give the regulatory input. And on the parallel lines, we also have clinical evaluation team, post-market surveillance, complaint handling team, which is giving input to the risk management and human factors, because they are all interlinked. So a clinical evaluation cannot be completed without risk management, or a risk management process or an activity cannot be completed without clinical evaluation or without post-market surveillance. So they all three are like in a cycle, and that input goes into the final design development, which is made uh, in accordance with the input that is coming in from the quality regulatory team. So based on all of these inputs with different teams, we basically complete the product design development or update the QMS in order to meet the regulatory requirement. And here you can see that I have put in different positions where a biomedical engineer may actually play an important role. And I think the previous speaker also discussed on this. For example, in the clinical evaluation, we have a role of a biomedical engineer. We also have a role of a biomedical engineer in the post-market surveillance or complaint handling. And of course, if the biomed engineer is well versed with a little bit of software knowledge or mechanical electrical knowledge or cybersecurity, they can also play a vital role in the risk management activity or usability engineering. And with some kind of trainings and other things, they also have a role to play in the overall design and development of the medical device. So moving on to the last part of my presentation, hope I have not bored you all. So this is something I think is really important, and please listen to this carefully. So let's say we are looking at a career strategy right now. You might be in your third year or fourth year. Like the previous speaker said, know your interest or strength. So what is that you are fascinated with, or what is that area that you are actually looking to work with? So that would be your first typical shortlisting or narrowing it down, like he said. And then the second would be shortlist the applicable roles. So one might be good at software, one might be good at the hardware part, somebody is really good in the user interface, somebody is good in reading the regulations or anything. So you need to look at what is that you are good with. So that is where you will be shortlisting your applicable roles. And then based on that, whatever you have shortlisted, let's say you have shortlisted that you want to get into the R&D, research and development, and this is more from the industrial part, not really the full-time R&D, but in the product development on a day-to-day basis, you're working on the product. So that is under the R&D. So now, how do you get into the R&Ds based on the kind of skills that you need, so that the hiring managers from the company are really interested to take you? So what are those skills that you need to work on? So that is something you need to figure out based on the applicable role that you have shortlisted in the area of your interest. And then once you have acquired your skills, then we also look at internships, we also look at freelancing for some startups or for some companies. So this is really going to give you an edge over the other candidates who are looking for jobs. And the most important thing is, after doing all of this, if you do not do the last two points properly, then everything goes for a waste, because shortlisting the companies and applying the job rightly. So these two are the most important things. And maybe just to give you some heads up, some shortcuts, I do have uh, something that you can really be interested in. So I say, look before you leap. What are those different areas that you can actually focus on? Okay, for an example, if you are interested in the R&D, then you have different areas where you can actually pick it up. So you could be a research associate, that's like a full-time research, or you could be involved in the clinical studies, so this is more on the research part. Or some of the areas where that is actually really interesting and picking up in the medtech industry is your biomaterials, AI, artificial intelligence, robotics, medical imaging, and cancer treatment radiation devices. So if you're looking at some of the narrowing down your areas, and this is more like a shortcut that I'm giving you. If you're interested, you can look at this. Or if you're just interested in making the devices, like designing and developing the devices, then you have different roles that you can take in, like a product requirement engineer, or a product design development engineer, quality assurance, or you could also be in product testing, verification, validation, and compliance testing. And then if you're looking at the manufacturing, because in India we do have some of the big medtech giants having their own manufacturing facility. For example, Philips has their manufacturing facility in Pune. Likewise, Siemens have their manufacturing facility in Bangalore. So they do the CT scanners and all of it local for India. So we also have some roles for medtech engineers, like quality assurance, or in the functional testing, labeling, packaging. So these are different roles. And then let's say if you're looking only at customer focus, of course, I think all of you are aware of the biomedical clinical engineer, sales service, application, calibration. And speaking of regulatory affairs, that I really from where I come, we have different roles where anybody would be working on the standards, establishment registration, device registrations, quality processes, product requirements, labeling, technical file, audits, communication with the regulatory authorities, and all of that. And trust me, it is not just documentation, or it is not just filling some papers and then sending it. So whatever matter content that we are doing, that really needs an understanding of medical devices, how a medical device is and what it is all about. And you really need to have thorough understanding of uh, electrical device, software device, mechanical device, and all of it, because whatever we do when we are faced with questions from the auditors, it is the product understanding that helps us to solve the question and then move forward. And then in the clinical product survey, surveillance or clinical follow-up, we have some roles like surveillance, reporting, investigations, and clinical studies. So this is something overall high level. Uh, if you are interested in specific, you could pose a question and maybe we can look at it. Okay, so now coming to the companies, I think this is something I was looking at my time, that what kind of companies to go, how do I apply. I tried applying to so many companies, but I did not get the answers, or they did not hire me. But what really happened? So I have kind of tried to make it easy for you. Let's say we have three different types of segments in the companies. One is your product-based companies that have stable jobs. You can look at long-term career goals in the product-based companies, and you will be getting in-depth knowledge and experience in one particular area if you're joining a product-based company, mostly. And then if we look at the Indian medtech startup, this is something really interesting, because nowadays we have so many Indian medtech startups that are coming up. uh, it is kind of easy to start because there's so many startups that are there and they're looking for dynamic people. The work is going to be really hectic. It is going to be dynamic because you would be working on multiple roles. You will be working in different areas. So it's like you are working on three or four different jobs. And that's how the startup environment is. And if you look at the IT industry or the service industry that is there, we have some companies that we'll be looking at in the next slide. But here, there can be exposure to various roles and engagement with many companies. Let's say you're working on one project for 6 months. The next 6 months you will shift to another project. You will be working for a different company. So first 6 months you might be working on ECG machine. The next 6 months you might be working on a dialysis machine. So this is where you can get exposure to different type of medical devices, different company cultures, and that is where you get so much of information that you can grow and you can decide your future path. So coming to the product companies, these are some of the product companies that I had also listed, the top medical device companies in the world. They were there also in the other slides. So we are actually lucky to have all of these in India. Not every country is having the presence of these medical device companies set up, whether let it be R&D or manufacturing. And then we have some of the service companies. So we have companies like HCL, Wipro, TCS, Tata Alexei, Infosys, Tech Mahindra, Capgemini. Freyr is a pure regulatory consulting firm. So these are some of the service companies that are operating across the globe, where they're supporting the manufacturers. So this is also something that you can actually look at. Moving to the next one. So the current hiring trend in the industry, right? So I've categorized again product companies, service company, and then we also have notified bodies. So when we look at the product companies, we have a general role that you might have normally seen on LinkedIn is a systems engineer. And then we have design quality or a risk engineer, clinical reviewer or a post-market surveillance specialist, or a quality or a regulatory engineer or a specialist. So these are some of the roles in the product companies. In the IT industry, we have mostly roles that are, with respect to gap assessment projects or sustenance engineering, some kind of small modifications and redevelopment of the product. IT industry had a lot of roles in quality regulatory right from 2017 till 2021, 2022, because that was the time when the European regulation was getting, you know, um, the manufacturers were trying to update their documentation and product to comply with the European regulation. And that's where there were so many people who actually moved to the quality regulatory space, from mechanical engineering, software engineering, and electrical engineering. So they all moved into the medtech space. And then we also have some roles at the notified body, like a product assessor, who is going to assess the product documentation, technical documentation of the product. We have a clinical reviewer, auditor, lead auditor, or a trainer. But all of these roles require a lot of experience, because they are the ones who act like a police, because they look at the uh, product and make sure that the product is complying with the regulation. So to get into the notified body, typically normally people with more than 10 to 15 years of experience are there in the notified bodies. Okay, now that you have seen all of these companies, or the roles that we have, or how regulatory landscape is affecting the opportunities, how do we actually try to grab the opportunity? So the first thing is quality standards and regulation. And I think there is a misunderstanding that standard or regulation is only for the regulatory affairs people or the quality team. But in reality, if you are working in a R&D domain, if you are working in design development, you will also be looking at the medical device standards. You will be looking at the regulation, because you have to design the product as per the regulation. You have to design the product as per the standard. So it is not just innovation that you think, I'm going to make a product like this and then you can release it in the market. Whatever you make has to meet the standards, has to meet the regulation. So even if your interest is not in the regulatory domain, but having good understanding of the standards and regulation will 100% give you an extra edge to pursue your interest, whether be it in R&D or any other space. So if you want to have some basic understanding of standards and regulation, you can look at uh, QMS requirements. What is the requirement for a product development, risk management requirements, usability engineering, and these three are some of the major uh, regulations that you should be aware of. EU MDR, because Europe is the second biggest market. US FDA requirement, because it is the first biggest market. Indian regulatory pathway, because you might be working, or you might get an opportunity in some Indian medtech companies where they would be launching their products in India as well. So if you're having EU, US, and India understanding of the regulatory work, then that is brilliant. And looking at the technology side, that if you really interested to get your interest in some of the high end or the happening technology, then that would be the robotics, artificial intelligence, or software as a medical device in general, variable devices, connected devices, and cybersecurity. So this is something where you can actually put your focus in. And most importantly, where do you start? You start with self study first. So you start connecting the dots. This is where you want to get into. Self study would be your first thing. Second, I think you're already doing that today. You are attending the seminar. So I know that you, all of you, are on the right path. And then you can also look at doing half a day, 1 day workshops that are organized by different companies or different entities, that will actually give you some mileage for your future and hands on. And you can also look at some kind of certification courses as well, because they normally help you to get some additional industry knowledge, which otherwise you would not be getting from your college. And of course, if there are opportunities given by some people, then you have internships, and you can also socialize, meet new people on LinkedIn. That's I think that everybody is doing that. So this is about how do we start and how do we get there. So I also conduct some training programs, mentoring, interview preparation, or whatever. You have my number, email, or LinkedIn. You can feel free to contact me anytime. So that was a short presentation from my side on this topic, that you definitely can unlock the opportunities that are there because of the expanding regulatory landscape. So maybe we can open the platform for questions if anybody is having. For now, I give it back to you.
Thank you, sir. It was a very great session, sir. It is a very eye opening for us and then the students also to learn about the regulatory standards, and then everything you can share from the starting to ending, and the session is very interesting, sir. And then what are the skills behind the regulatory standards, and then what are the things we have to learn in the regulatory standards, everything we you clearly explained, sir. Thank you for this wonderful session, sir, and then thank you for your wonderful timing to spend with us, sir.
Thank you.
Participants, if you have any doubt, kindly ask or put it in the chat box.
Um, I have one question here. What kind of qualification and skill requirement for regulatory affairs job from freshers? See, normally, um, I think I did not go over that. To get into regulatory affairs or quality job directly as a fresher in a product-based company is not possible. If you look at some companies like Siemens, Philips, GE, mostly they would be hiring regulatory affairs candidates with 4 to 5 years of experience. So if you're looking at product-based companies in regulatory or quality, it is slightly difficult. It is not so easy, but there would be some openings in some of the smaller, medium-sized companies or the startups where they would be hiring interns, or they could be hiring the entry-level quality engineer job or regulatory job. So easiest entry would be a quality engineer. Quality engineering could be in design development, it could be in risk management, or it could be in usability engineering. So you can get into the company as a quality engineer, you can work up your skills, you can climb up the ladder, and then slowly you can start getting into the standards, and then if you are interested you can move to the regulatory domain. Because the easiest entry into a product based company is being a quality engineer. But how do you go inside a big giant product based company is, it's better without wasting time, look for a nice startup or that is near to you, just sign up for it. Don't think twice that the pay is less, because if you're working in a startup as a quality engineer, 100% you will get an opportunity to work for big MNCs if you stick on to that role. Because I believe in the initial stages it is a little difficult because the pay is less, but there would be better pay in application side or the sales side or any other. But normally in the startups, if you have the right skills, you can definitely get into a quality engineering role or a clinical role, clinical specialist role, even in the startup of a medical device manufacturing company. And from there, with 1 or 2 years of experience, with all the skills that you have gathered, try exploring different departments within that company, and then with that skill, 2 years 3 years, you can start applying for bigger companies. But otherwise, as a fresher, to get in big giant companies for regulatory, it is kind of difficult. It is better to start off with the smaller companies. Do we have any other questions? um, Most of the students having the query from all to get into that same role as fresher. Thanks for the clarification from your side. And any projects can we do from regulatory affairs related thing? Of course, you can definitely work on some kind of projects, and you can look at internships. There would be some people who would be planning to have interns because it's easy to get the job done. You can look out for internships. You can look out for projects in regulatory affairs. That is a possibility. But before that, try looking out or explore workshops or that is happening, or mostly into the quality engineering, because that is the base. The base for regulatory affairs is the quality engineering. So without quality engineering, there wouldn't be regulatory affairs, because whatever regulatory affairs is dictating that you need to meet this regulation, it is the quality engineers who will make sure that the company is meeting the regulation. So quality engineering is always the base. So, how do you envision the future of biomedical engineering and regulatory work evolving over the next decade? It is already happening. So the regulatory affairs or the quality engineering jobs are such that you can also do it remotely. So this is the one of the beauties of the RA or the QA job, where you don't really have to go to the work all the time. If you look at Europe, you will see a company is there in Netherlands, but somebody is working from Belgium, and that person is not really coming to the office every day, probably once in 15 days or once in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and the work is happening mostly remotely. And this is all due to the COVID thing. And with respect to how much work would be there in the regulatory affairs in the coming decade, then it is 100% going to be more and more. It is going to rise because nowadays what is happening is more and more countries are coming forward with new regulations. Countries that did not have regulation at all, they just followed the general import export method of regulating the devices. Now they have come up with their own regulation of medical device regulation. So when a new country comes up with a regulation, then that's a direct impact to the manufacturer. So they need to again comply with new requirements or whatever requirements that country has come up with. And they can't have their resources innovating, developing the product, and also looking at the country requirements, and then working on the products that they have already developed. So that is where they start expanding the teams. They get in more resources to handle the extra work that is coming because of new regulation or update in the quality standard. So the work in the quality engineering in the regulatory affairs is just keep go up and up because of new countries come up with new regulations. And most importantly, because of the new technology that is evolving, there will always be a scope for a new regulation to come in. You see, if we look at, let's say, 5 years behind, there was no standard or a regulation for artificial intelligence in medical devices. Artificial intelligence was there in the general industry, but in medical devices we did not have a set regulation. But today we have a AI based regulation. So tomorrow, if a new technology is coming in, there would be a new standard published to regulate that technology, because every medical device that is coming in has to be regulated. And the reason being, the regulatory bodies of the country under the health ministry, they want to make sure their citizens are safe. They want to make sure that the citizens are giving the right amount of money. The devices are not posing a threat to the lives of the patient. So there has to be a regulation which is regulating, or there has to be a body which is regulating the medical device technology. So but it generally takes time, because it took time for the experts to come together to make the AI regulation, and then it's published now. So likewise, whenever there is new technology that is coming in, there is always scope for new work, because new standard, new regulation, and then compliance to that. And typically in the industry, every 5 years, one or the other standards get updated. So whenever there is a standard update, all the product documentation, whether it is R&D, whether it is user manual, product label, technical file, all of these might have an update, which is again calling for extra work. Next question: how do different countries' regulatory framework impact the development and approval of biomedical products? So um, normally the regulatory framework is slightly different in different countries. For example, the US regulatory pathway is different. The way we get the license and the way we get the approval, it's different. So normally if you look at 510K submission in US, it typically takes about 3 to 4 months of time for us to get the 510K. And if you look at EU, more or less a similar timeline, but now because of MDR, it may take even more than 1 year for right from the application time to once we get the license. But if we look at some of the other Asian countries, it is a lot quicker. But when we look at China, it takes more than 1 year for us to get the clearance of the product. So let's say we have designed a product now and we are all ready, but if we have to sell it in China, we cannot. We cannot sell the product in China from day one. Now that the product is all ready, but we have to apply in China. We have There is a set process where they're going to do the examination and all of that, and typically it takes about 1 year or 1.5 year to get the complete clearance of the product. So that is how there has to be a good regulatory planning. So the marketing team along with the regulatory affairs team, they are going to sit together and decide the planning which market will be targeted first, and once we get clearance from this market, we are going to move to the next market, and when would the products be available in these specific countries. Based on the country timeline, it is decided, and normally it really affects the development or approval of biomedical products, because um, we will not be allowed to sell the medical device if we are not following the regulation or not meeting the timeline, or even if we are doing all of it, there is a set timeline that is required to sell the medical products in the field. Next one, is there any specific website and platform to learn about regulatory affairs? YouTube is one of the best channels that I see. You will see plenty of videos, whatever you want to learn about basics of standards, regulatory affairs. You will have this all short videos that you can grasp some basic understanding that will give you an extra edge. And there are many websites from where you can actually get information. You can look at the websites like you have UL Emergo. There is a website from BSI. Two websites are there, and Joner Institute is one of a good website. Then you have Greenlight Guru. So that website is also informative. So these are some of the websites to get the basic understanding. So Matan Kumar, thank you so much for your appreciation. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful session and then beautifully answered to all the questions, sir, and then clearing my doubts also, sir. It is very helpful for the young budding engineers and then staffs also, sir. Thank you for once again. Thank you for accepting our invitation, sir.
Yeah,
It is a
thank you.
very grateful session, and then engaging the session 40 minutes is very useful for us, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure. So, anytime, any
Thank you.
help you need with respect to workshops to be conducted or any kind of training program and etc., you can contact me. We can look at something together. Yeah.
Yeah, sir. Sure, sir. In future, we will continuously collaborate, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I want to extend my deepest gratitude our experts today for sharing their expertise and then inspiring knowledge with the profound knowledge. And then as we conclude the today's session, tomorrow we have a day two session starting from 6:30 p.m. For all your participation is tomorrow is important for us. Thank you once again for all your patience and then participation. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.